new development of our institute. Okay. The China Data Online has been one of the primary data service for China studies and sponsored by the Data Institute. And also we have a partner with our China Market Research and to deliver those the government statistics data, spatial data, China. So if you are familiar with the China Data Online, you can probably find there are three primary data source for China studies. One is the China statistics data. This includes yearly and monthly government statistics at national level, province, city, and county level. And or the second the data source is the census data. The census data provide census data from different years and from population census, economic census, and also some other census. The spatial data service is primarily distributed by the China GeoExplore. It's an effort to integrate all the stats data, census data, and also GIS data in a web-based spatial system. So those the China Data Online has been serviced for many years, since probably 2000. Now, if you go to the China Data Online, you can find now we have a new look of the China Data Online. So this new look, and compared to the previous web page, will be more simple and more clear. You can find a different category of China spatial data, stats data, and census data, and also the monthly or bi-weekly the China data news about the Chinese GDP, investment, and pricing. So this the website, this China Data Service, has been subscribed by many university and libraries across the world, and most faculty students work on China studies are using those data for their research and teaching. So here are some new developments for China Data Online under statistics data. So we have been offered the statistics data sheets. The data sheet is able to include all the tables from province yearbooks and from National Bureau of Statistics from the current to past, and also include some other statistics tables from other different sources. The tables are in English and Chinese, and also provide a full text search, and with the metadata for each table, including citation information and a unique ID for direct access. So here is some example for this statistics data sheet. So for the statistics data in China, probably the most complete publication is the province, the statistics yearbooks. But most statistics yearbooks probably are in Chinese and also in paper versions. So we have been trying to make all the tables in electronic version and also in both English and Chinese for easy access. And also added data for the citation. The new development is a statistics chart. For those traditional database, usually they are kind of separate. So if you try to find what kind of variable for the neighbor for investment, and what kind of variable available at the province neighbor, city neighbor, county neighbor, it's not very straightforward. So this statistics chart is an effort to integrate all the stats data from the different the years, different region, and different neighbors. So you can search the tables across the different region, across national neighbor, province neighbor, city, or county neighbors. And all the charts are in English and Chinese. And also this has a time series data on the chart. You can download the data into Excel file and beyond the chart. And also we provide metadata for each chart, including citation information and also unique ID for direct access. You can see here is just a data connection. You can search, and then you get a chart and get tables. Very straightforward. Where for sense data, we also have been offer the sense data maps as an effort to integrate all the sense data from the different sources, from the different population sense, economic census, or from different years. The sense database provide more than 7 million maps from the sense data. And also we provide full text search by keywords, year, place, and also we provide map data for each map, including citation information and also unique map ID for direct access. So all the data behind the map for each map can be exported to the Excel file or CSV file. You can also export maps to PDF or graphic files. So this is the interface for sense maps. Now we have just released a beta version for China GeoExplorer. So the China GeoExplorer is a web-based system to integrate all those the sense data, GIS data, and in a web-based spatial system. So with the China GeoExplorer, you can easily query the data by the region, by the province, city, county, even township, either manually or from the map directly. You can also see those spatial description of maps of population and economy, business at different administrative levels. You can also generate your data by spatial location and spatial range, and generate the time series, the data, panel data, and so also you can export data to the HTML, CSV, Excel file, Word file, or GIS shape file. So here is the interface of the current the China GeoExplorer. The China GeoExplorer, the older interface or the current interface was programmed in Flex. When we start to develop the China GeoExplorer, the new program language like HTML5 is not available yet. Now this new interface was redeveloped in HTML5, so that can be available across the different platforms. So for many systems, they're not support the Flex anymore, or by the end of probably this year. So this new phase not only and compatible with the different platforms, different browsers, but also it will be much easier. So you can follow step by step. You don't have to have any training. You can learn how to and use that very quickly, and also much faster than before. So here is a China GeoExplorer. You can snap the data by spatial location and also spatial range, generate a summary table and a comparison tables for those that generate the data. So we have about more than 6,000 variables in the China GeoExplorer for every administrative unit at province level, city level, county level, even the township level. So those data cover the government statistics, population census, economic census, and also land use data, and also nighttime live data. So compared from remote sense data. So this is an example of the trend analysis. We can find how the Chinese population structure, business structure, industrial structure has been changed over time and across the different regions. This is the China GeoExplorer. You can use the index to make the map at province, city, county, or township levels. You can export those data maps to the PDF or JPG files. You can also export all the digital maps into the GIS shape files. So the China Data Online, now we can see there are many the new features, functions of the China Data Online with the most the recent the new technologies. We are continue to improve our web data service with the new technology, and so that can be compatible with different platforms, different browsers, and then you can always also even use that not only on the computers but even in the tablet or in a cell phone, where those even the data service we provided are pretty advanced and spatial, non-spatial, and but the way the users can get the data, can use data, are still in the traditional approach. So it's an issue how to make the data and much easier for more advanced studies. For example, for many users, for advanced studies, they would probably like to process the data for all China, for all the records. But due to the restriction by the technology, by the web browsers, the users cannot download say everything in a button, or download say all the township of China. We have more than 50,000 townships in China, or we can download say several thousand verbs in one button. So that's not there's kind of the barrier there with web browsers. So now, we need to find a good way to provide a new platform so the users they can get full access to the source data, not only the source data, but also the data from probably other vendors. And also not only the data, the user probably also need to have the good tools for those data analysts. So we have been offered the training workshops and to the faculty students at different places. We find one of the big challenges is many the faculty and students, they probably don't have the tools, good tools for their data analysis. Or even we can, got some or get some tools or get some support from some tool vendors. Then their PC, their computers may not be compatible with the environment or the software. So there are always some issues. Another big issue is probably we have some faculty students, they are interested in the workflow to process the data. So here's a new initiative I would like to introduce today. Is called, we have the cloud-based China Data Lab. So this is a new initiative. We try to integrate the data tool and also data case studies, and for the different users and also for the trainings. So there are some features for this China Data Lab. So this will be totally different than our traditional data service. So this data platform will allow the user to get access to all the full or partial source data on the cloud. Users can use those powerful tools for data processing and analysis on the cloud without downloading the data. Because in this way, we can allow the user to use the data, but also to protect the property of the right of the data. So data vendors can feel free to offer their data support. And also another issue is when we have now and more data, and even the big data, it's almost impossible for users to download everything into their desktop and then use the software to process the data. So the data and all the data probably has to be accessible from the cloud, from the server directly. And also with this platform, the user can learn from the workflow-based data case studies. And they can download the results and report after approved. And with the platform, with this data case studies, users they can then replicate, reproduce, and expand those case studies on the cloud. So here's the interface for. So this were interface will provide a platform and for the data providers, research center and apps, tool providers, and also for faculty and students. So here's the sample of the interface. You can see the tutor. This is a kind of tool list here. That's similar to virtual site, and offered by many the tool vendors company now, like some VMware, Citrix. And here's some the data source list here. Here's some the different applications for the software, for the GIS, for workflow, and for spatial data analysis. So here I would like to give a demo and what kind of the workflow-based data case study. So we're planning to develop a data case study and based on build kind of workflow. So here is a sample, and based on our previous publication, the religious diversity and regional development. So the purpose for this paper is try to test the impact of the religious diversity on regional development in China. So for those data analysts in this paper, there is a kind of pretty complicated the workflow. So you have to get the data from different sources, from Excel file. The data can be from static data, sense data, and also GIS shape files. Those data will be integrated with the different tools, with Excel, with static software, and or use the GIS, the software, to do some spatial static analysis, spatial modeling, and generate a chart, table, and maps. And then, so that's the kind of the workflow, the flow chart for the papers. Now with so this for those kind of analysis, we need at least you need to know how to use Excel and ArcGIS and also static softwares. Now we can build all this the workflow in one system, and you don't have to even program. You just configure the workflows. So this is an example of the part of this workflow and how this workflow looks like. So this is the final report, and with the synapse maps and charts and tables, and from our intermediate outputs, and for final the paper and reports. So for those to generate those kind of maps and charts, final, we probably need to generate hundreds or 10 hundreds the intermediate output, the maps and charts. This is very time consuming. Now with the workflow, we can generate this just one button, and that can make them work more efficient. The most important, now this workflow can be copied, expanded by other users. So here, the data case study is different than the case study by the Harvard Business School for business case studies. Usually, most of the case studies is one paper. So here, our data case study is one package. This one package includes the case study report, case study presentation, the data. Like for this, the research, for this, the demo, will include a religious data table in Excel file, static data tables in Excel file, process maps in shape files. And also included in this package are Alteryx modules, workflow modules, technical report to describe and what the workflows, for each workflow, what the task means. And also the technical output and generate by the workflow modules. So this is the data case study. We are work with different research centers from different universities and to develop the data case study and with the selected the database and also the software. And hopefully we'll make some very good case studies and this year. Well, here is the new the database we just released. This is a new administrative boundary maps of China for 2018. So this product includes some province boundary, prefecture city boundary, and also county boundary. So we have been working to develop these administrative maps and since 1949. So those maps are available for every year. Now we also work with the Harvard on a China Data Map project at Harvard. So this project will be offer the opportunity for researchers to collaborate on research, tour development, data case studies, and also training program. And we're just completed our agreement with the Harvard on the Data Map project, and also with Wuhan University. And hopefully, and this what you will see were some very good output, and from this data map, and very soon we'll offer the support for the research. And that means a free platform. You can have access and free access to the data on the cloud, and free access to those tours on the cloud. And also we receive some trainings on those data and tours. And you will work with other partners to develop the data case study. And those data case studies will be published and provide to the research to faculty and students. So we're going to recruit some postdocs at Harvard, and for the development and research. And we're also going to organize some on-site and online the training program, and starting from this year. So please just stay tuned for the new news announcement. Where we also have several conference showcase this year. If you'd like to meet our staff at those conferences, so we have the both at those conferences next month. We have the annual conference of the Association for Asia Studies in Denver, and also the AAG Association of the American Geographer Conference in Washington, D.C. in April, and also Association of College Research Library Annual Conference in Cleveland in April, and also Spatial Library Association Conference in Cleveland in June. So those are opportunity you can come to meet our staff at the showcase. Were any questions before I give some online demo? So if you have any question, you can send your question to Susan by chat, or you can send those questions at any time, or Susan maybe get those questions, receive that questions, and by the end of this webinar. Oh, okay. The one question is, what can you share about the separation from the University of Michigan, where our center, where our institute at. So I used to be the director of the China Center at the University of Michigan, and the center has been established in University of Michigan since 1997. So we have been offered the China Data Online by the China Data Center at the University of Michigan, and for the many years. Where since the last year, we have been spin off from the University of Michigan in last September. There's probably many consideration and issues there, but probably it's, when the center is growing, might be the time and be goodbye and from the University of Michigan. That's where the Michigan has been provide a long time support for the center's development. But now probably when the center is growing, there's we're probably also looking for the platform, also the new structure, how to keep the center growing. So the University of Michigan has been a very good place for the cultivate the new good business, like some JSTOR. The Charity Center probably will be one of them. Any other questions? Okay, maybe you can send your questions to Susan and during my presentation or demo here. I would like to give online the demo to some new development of this China Data Online. So the China Data Online, you can see here, we have the stats data. This is the most traditional. We start from the China Stats Data Service in 2000. This is the most early the data service by our centers. So all this data come from the National Bureau of Statistics. So here's you can see, you can get this data and very straightforward. And you can snap variables, snap years, and then extract the, oh, I need to refresh the front page. So you can retrieve this data. It's very straightforward. You can save this data into the Excel file or copy paste into any other the software. So this you don't need any trainings for those data they use. So this provide monthly data, stats data, yearly data at national level, province level, city level, county level, and also industrial data, and also stats data sheets and data charts. So here is the new data sheets I just talk about. Now with the stats data sheet, you can find the data and query, search the data by the different at national level or different from different province, or snap data by different the category. Say if I like to find the data, say hairs, I can search the data. Across the different region. Now you can see there's so many different tables related to hairs. So this is, if you click this one, you can see this is a table in English. Click here, the table will be in Chinese. And there is a map data here to describe where the data source and what data description, and also citation information for each tables. And so this is very straightforward, provide a very good and rich data statistics for the China. Because for those the province, for the yearbooks, they are pretty complicated and pretty complete across the different regions. From the province, the statistics yearbooks, you can also find some data at the prefecture, city, and county levels. Another new one is the statistical chart. The statistical chart integrates those monthly statistics at province, national level, city level, and county levels. Now you can also search the data. Say I would like to find hairs data at national level. So they will give you what kind of the tables available with the hairs. They will find this one, and it will give you a chart of this index. Now you can download the data into the Excel file, CSV file, or export the chart to the PDF or PNG file. So you can retrieve the data, snap data at different the levels, county, city, province, and national levels. So we have about a very large statistical chart. Now all the data are integrated in one database. It's much easier to find the data with these tools. For the census data, now we have the census data from different population census, economic census. The most complete the sense data are actually 2,000 population sense data. So those sense data available at province and county neighbors. So you can easily retrieve the data at Naksan in electronic tables. This is very straightforward. But if you like to extract, say, one variable across a different region, it's very time consuming. So this is kind of very straightforward in Excel file. So the census map is an effort to integrate all those kind of census data in one searchable database. So this census data, the maps include more than 7 million the census maps for China. Next time, I try to find, say, the school. So they can search the data at either national level, province level, city level, and county level. Now you can see the maps of these, say, the variables across the country. So this is the number of the persons with no school education and migrated from township of other province. So this is the Hubei province. This should be Hubei province. You can go to connect to the next prefecture city, and then go to each county, and go from here. You can also go to the township. So it's very straightforward, and you can switch and from national level, province level, city level, county level, and to a township level. Those data can be downloaded into Excel file, CSV file. You can export the maps into the PDF, PNG. You can also view those maps in China Explorer in an interactive way. You can also switch the map between different county neighbors. So this is one county. I go to another county. So so you can switch, or you can edit the title if you would like to export this map. You can change the way to classify the map. You can add the neighbor, add the boundary. So there's also add the classification. So this is provide a very flexible way. And also for each map, you can find subject the map data source, what's the data source, and also where's the citation. The citation include a unique map ID. So you can copy this ID into your paper or in presentation. You will get direct access to these maps. You can also switch between English and Chinese. So sometimes, if you are not sure what the English means when you translate from Chinese, you can always switch between English and Chinese, switch between different provinces, switch between different counties, or switch to the next neighbor administrative units. Okay, so all these kind of data services are still looks in the traditional way, because either they are kind of in statics, either in the table charts, or either in tables, in electronic books, or in charts, or in maps. So the new service, where now it's not new, which is called China Explorer, has been an effort to integrate those data sources from the different sources and different formats and different years in a web-based spatial system. Now we have this version, the full version. They are used to developing Flex, the technology. Now we just released the beta version in HTML5. So this version make all the procedures much more simple and more clear. So now see, this is the new version. Actually, we just released today, this morning. And you can see there are several menus for administrative units, or for XY location, for time series, for charts, seeing maps. There are some other functions that are not finished yet, like some establishment for business and GIS map export. But they were going to release very soon. With this one, you can select the region say I would like to snap the data by the province, prefecture, city, county, or township. You can snap here one by one manually. You can also snap map from the map with the mouse directly. Once you make a selection, you can make the snap the different the data or the report. For example, here I can snap my variables. Say this has more than 6,000 variables, so I also pick up some variables, and then select how you would like to export your data in HTML file, PDF file, CSV, Excel file, or Word file. So this is the summarized the data. You can also would like to snap data in comparison report. So this will be exported to the HTML by individual province. You can see for this snapped variable, we can see the data for each province. So now this is much easier, very straightforward, and you can also snap data by different group with one single group or multiple group. Say I would like to find the data for East China, Central China, or West China. The XY location allow you to snap data by XY location and a spatial range. So if you click here, click anywhere on the map, if you know where the location, or you can manually input from here. Once you make the selection, you can decide the spatial range. So I would like to get the estimate by 1 mile, 3 mile, 5 mile. You can also say I want to change it to 10 mile. And then you snap the data. So we would like to say snap the census data. Then you can snap the report. So now you can see now the data has been, this is not actually, there's no official government for the data, for those kind of the data by spatial location and spatial range. So it's based on our system's estimate. So you can see where's the total population by different spatial ranges, 1 mile, 3 mile, 5 mile for the 0.1, 0.2. So you can generate and many this point in the same time. The time series data allow you to extract the data by different place, different years, and with different for different index. So this is the GDP, and then generate the report. You can see this is the data for different province, different years, and different the index. And also we add the spatial weighted the variables and to the table. The chart allow you to find how the population, the structure, business structure in China at the national level, at province level. So you can find anywhere in China at national level, regional level, how the population structure, business structure has been changed over time and over space. The CMap allow you to generate a map, and with a rich variables. Basically, we have more than 6,000 variables. You can find, like this one is what's the urban population and distributed in China. So you can get a similar, you can change the map setting. You can export the map to PDF or JPG file. So you can decide if you'd like to include a legend or CANPASS. So the new interface is much faster, much simpler, much easier, and for users. Finally, I would like to give a brief show and demo of this the China Data Lab we are working on. So this is the new platform that we're going to probably provide some trials next month. Right now, it's still under test. We call it China Data Lab.in. So once you log into this Data Lab, you can find here are some tools and here listed here. And also we have some data. This is the files. So with tools, we can see some software for statistical analysis, for the Office, for Jupyter, for the ArcGIS maps, and also for workflow analysis. In the data sharing folders, you can have some publicly shared the data, or you can find there's some, you can upload your personal data onto the cloud, and then your final output you can download from these folders. So if you have your data, you can upload it to these folders, or if you say I would like to allow my student or other people to share my data, you can upload those data to your folders and make those data shareable with other people. But other people, they can only use the data on the cloud, not be able to download the original data into their desktop. So in this way, we can encourage the people to share their data, but also to protect their property right. So here are series kind of software available online, different than the software installed on your computers. The software you can run here is actually run on the cloud, not on your personal computer, but everything looks exactly the same. But the data they can access is also the data on the cloud. The final output is also saved on the cloud. So here is the workflow, the software. So basically, you don't have to program if you don't want to. So basically, you just drag some icon and put together, and then build the workflow. So there's many advanced functions for data analysis, for data process, for the charts, maps, tools, and in the system already. So I can show you one of the workflow and developed by the undergraduate student in the UM. So this is one workflow by our undergraduate student. So this workflow is a part of the data case study I just show you for the religion analysis. So with the workflow, you can process and multiple tasks in one button. And those workflows can be replicated, copied, pasted by other people. If you replace the data source tables, you can basically transfer from one study, say from religion study to finance studies, or to the health studies, for as long as their data format is similar. But also with a different methodology, different procedures, you can also edit those workflows. So basically, our research experience can be improved based on other people's research experience. You don't have to do everything from the very beginning. So that's the kind of how the workflow and can help us for the research, and also for the training. So, any other questions? So here's the one question. I'm interested in see an example of the township neighbor data. Okay. So here in the China Explorers, so you can select data by the province, prefecture, city, counties, and the township. So there's about more than 50,000 townships in China in 2000. So the township has been the number of the township has been reduced to about now we have been more than there's about a total more than 30,000 the townships in China. So here you can select some township data. I just use the mouse. You can see here's the selection of the township data. Then you can select variables, and I just select one here. Then you can select the report. So there you extract the data for the township into the tables. So since it's the database, it may be slow. Okay, here's another question: is there any easy way to download data across the multiple year and the region? Yes. So in the index selection, you can actually get the data from the different year. Next on the 2000, the population census data, economic census data, 2008, 2004, 95, and for the land use data, we have the data different years. And the nighttime data actually have this data every years. So basically, you can select data across different years, and also across the different by the province, by city, or by the counties. So you can across a different region. In the time series data, where the census data are different than the government statistics data. So the time series data, their administrative units, the base units will be different, because for every year, the boundary might be changed across the year for counties, for prefecture cities. So it's very difficult to get a comparable the data across the different years. So in our GeoExplorer, we provide several the base year, say either data based on 2000, 2010, or 2010 comparable the base year. Then those data has been produced and to be comparable across the different the region and also across the different data source.
Dr. Bao,
Uh-huh.
the question was actually submitted relating to the statistical yearbook data. Are there
Okay.
plans to include that kind of data in this product, or is there a way to easily do that trend analysis using the statistical yearbook data?
Okay. The 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 data in the stats yearbooks, the problem for the data in the stats yearbooks is those index in the stats yearbooks may not be consistent or comparable across a different region and even across the years. So those data in the stats yearbooks, if they can be comparable across the region and time, they are being actually processed, integrated in our China GeoExplorers. Next time, in the China Explorer, we have this stat data by the province, by prefecture city, and county neighbors. The next time, prefecture city, you can snap those data, say, I would like to by different prefecture city, and then you can get the data from different years, and then you can get the different index. So those data come from the standard government statistics, but they are being processed and try to be comparable. So if you directly retrieve the data from the statistics yearbook or statistical data sheets, they may not be consistent or may not be comparable. So now we can see this data table. So this data has been processed and make sure they can be comparable. So if you retrieve the data directly from the stats yearbooks, they not be comparable. So that's another issue. Mm-hmm. Any other questions?
Okay, if there are no other questions, we would like to thank you, everyone for participating today. We will be posting the recorded webinar after the meeting, and we will let you know where you can access that. We would also like to send each of you a brief survey about the webinar, and we would appreciate any feedback or suggestions you could provide. I do appreciate the suggestions we got today. And unless there are some additional questions, let me check. Yes. Actually, this is continuing the question regarding the statistical yearbook. Basically, he understands the comparability issue of the geographic data. I'm adding some information here. But is there any way to at least download them so that I can start to work with them?
Yes, in the stats data sheets, you can download all the data sheets and basically all copy paste into your Excel files.
So copy and paste into Excel files.
Right.
So
that's very straightforward, yeah.
Okay, although it's not necessarily an easy way of doing it, but it is possible.
Right.
Okay. All right. Thank you. With that, we appreciate again your time today, and we are very excited about the new developments incorporating new data and new software. And with that, we wish you an excellent rest of the day. Thank you very much.
All right, thanks for everyone. And also, if you have any question, you can send an email to us, and here's the office at chinadatacenter.net. All right, thank you.